Many Americans oppose the stringent trade policies implemented by the U.S. President Donald Trump toward Canada and Mexico. However, it is important to understand why such measures were deemed necessary. The foundation of North American trade cooperation dates back to 1979, when U.S. President Ronald Reagan introduced the concept of a North American free trade zone with Canada. This vision materialized with the signing of the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement, FTA, on September 28, 1988. Subsequently, the agreement was expanded into the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, under President Bill Clinton, who signed it into law on December 8, 1993. NAFTA officially took effect on January 1, 1994, with the primary objective of eliminating trade and investment barriers among the United States, Canada, and Mexico. While U.S.-Canada trade had already been largely duty-free since 1988, NAFTA facilitated the immediate removal of tariffs on over half of Mexico's exports to the United States. In 2024, China invested over $17 billion in Mexico for factory development, while exporting $13 billion worth of raw materials to the country, including the poppy plant, an essential ingredient in the production of fentanyl, a substance 50 times more potent than heroin. This underscores how Chinese raw materials and components are legally processed or assembled in Mexico before being exported to the United States, taking advantage of NAFTA's tariff benefits. However, when it comes to illicit trade, an overwhelming 96.6% of drug trafficking occurs through illegal smuggling into the U.S. Similarly, Chinese investments in Canada have been even more significant, totaling $28 billion in direct investments and $46 billion in exports in 2024 alone. These investments follow the same model, leveraging trade agreements to gain favorable access to the U.S. market. Chinese investments are also accompanied by significant immigration. Each year, approximately 30,000 Chinese workers migrate to Canada for employment opportunities in these industries, alongside an additional 50,000 Chinese immigrants. The growing presence of Chinese enterprises and communities is influencing local government policies, often in ways that conflict with U.S. economic interests. Concerns over the exploitation of NAFTA led President Trump to renegotiate the agreement, culminating in the creation of the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, in 2018. During his first term, USMCA officially replaced NAFTA in July 2020. However, despite this revision, misuse of the agreement persisted, prompting President Trump to impose stricter measures against Canada and Mexico on February 1, 2025, during his second term. From a European perspective, these new trade restrictions are perceived as a betrayal of long-standing allies. Many Americans also share this sentiment. However, the data since 1988 suggests that Canada and Mexico have leveraged these agreements for their own economic gain, often at the expense of U.S. interests. The European Union is not exempt from similar trade dynamics. This raises a fundamental question. Should Americans continue to bear the economic burden of these agreements for another 5 decades, solely for the benefit of Canada, Mexico, and Europe? The answer is no. In international trade, alliances are based on mutual benefit. There are no permanent allies when economic policies disadvantage American workers and industries, nor are there permanent adversaries when trade agreements support U.S. prosperity. This pragmatic approach defines the essence of politics. Ultimately, Trump's trade doctrine prioritizes fairness and national interest. As President of the United States, his responsibility is to safeguard American economic strength, ensuring that trade policies serve the best interests of the nation.